Picture.
Today? Yeah! Oh. Got really excited for a second.
Okay. So I'm Alfonzo, and I'll be talking about marijuana. My main claim is I'm here to state that smoking marijuana from time to time is far safer and healthier than smoking cigarettes. My secondary claims will be regarding legalization of marijuana, deaths caused by cigarettes, marijuana overdose, and potential medical benefits from smoking marijuana, the different addictions between nicotine and cigs and marijuana, and as well as a personal experience with a family member. Certain people believe that smoking cigarettes is far safer and healthier than smoking marijuana because it's legalized. Marijuana is thought to be more dangerous due to the fact that it's illegal. Due to legal issues, marijuana prohibition causes more problems than it solves and ruins thousands more lives than it tries to save. So by legalizing marijuana, all the simple arresting would terminate. Or there have been various incidents of people dying from smoking cigarettes in the long run. I found an article on cancer.org talking about smoking cigarettes and its relationship with cancer. The adverse health effects from cigarette smoking account for an estimated 443,000 deaths, or nearly 1 of every 5 deaths each year in the United States. I also found on that same article, more deaths are caused each year by tobacco use than by all deaths from human viruses such as HIV or illegal drug use, alcohol use, motor vehicle injuries, suicides, and murders combined. Smoking causes an estimated 90% of all lung cancers deaths in men and 80% of all lung cancer deaths in women. Now I'm going to be talking about marijuana overdose. There is no legal evidence of anyone dying from marijuana overdose. Marijuana is far less dangerous than alcohol or tobacco. Around 50,000 people die each year from alcohol poisoning. Similarly, more than 400,000 deaths each year are attributed to tobacco smoking. So by comparison, marijuana is non-toxic and cannot cause death by overdose. So overdose by marijuana is basically impossible. Let's see. Some potential benefits from smoking marijuana are getting rid of pain. So pain management is one of them, and then brain scans show that reduced activity in 2 centers of the brains where pain is registered. The mid-anterior cingulate cortex and the amygdala. These parts of the brains are essential for feeling sensations on the body, such as pain. In order to have medical marijuana, you need a medical card. Basically, people who feel anxiety or pain by chemotherapy are given medical marijuana. It also has an effect. It's also effective against vomiting and nausea. So it's perfect to counter motion sickness. And as mentioned before, it helps with chemotherapy and against cancer. Addiction in cigarettes in cigarette smoking is much greater and is proved to be unhealthier due to nicotine. It is scientifically proven that cigarette smokers become more addicted to drug nicotine than smoking marijuana. I found this in an article from AskMen.com. Now I'm going to be talking about a personal experience with a family member. A personal experience of mine had to deal with my great-grandmother's cancer. She smoked medical marijuana to relieve the stress and pain she dealt with. At times, she would feel anxious, and unfortunately, she died last year on June 5th, 2012. But the good thing was that with the assistance of medical marijuana, she managed to live several more years without pain and suffering, and I know this had a positive impact on her family because she managed to spend more time with them. In conclusion, smoking marijuana casually can serve as a medical source and is safer and healthier than cigarettes.
All right, well, your claim has multiple parts to it. That's a little bit problematic. You need to simplify it and stick to a particular claim. The secondary issues are labeled, but they're not always labeled as declarative sentences, so they're not always making inferences. It's just informational in nature. I don't think anybody says that marijuana is more dangerous than smoking cigarettes. I haven't heard anybody ever say that, even 40 years ago when people were arguing about this, at least not when it comes to death. The problems with marijuana that people have are much more about its psychoactive effect rather than its physical effects, and I think that you need to maybe talk about that a little bit more. And the comparison to cigarettes, I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I know why that you're making the comparison there. There's a value premise based on this that since cigarettes are legal and marijuana is illegal, that there's something wrong there. But since you can't make the value argument, it really feels strange that you are doing this comparison anyway, because it doesn't really do anything to advance your claim. I think if you had stuck to the health benefits of marijuana, you'd have had a stronger argument, and then you could develop evidence on some of the points that you talk about. On the chemotherapy issue, you don't present any evidence. You've got one example of your grandmother, which is a good personal example, but it doesn't really demonstrate any efficacy because ultimately we don't have any way of knowing whether or not her life was extended because of her consumption of the marijuana. There is a little bit of information about pain control, and I think that it could be a little bit stronger like that, but that makes it sound like marijuana ought to be useful for headaches, and I'm not sure that anybody thinks that that's the best way to manage those headaches, especially if there are other pain medications that work just as effectively. Then the question becomes, why do we need marijuana? And that should be the argument, that marijuana is needed for these medical purposes. I think if you did that, you'd have a much clearer argument. You're off on tangents providing all this information about cigarette smoking being addictive and all the deaths that are associated with it. That's, at best background information. It doesn't really advance your argument, and I think that that's a little problematic. Some of the information tends to run together, and I think you need to be a little bit more careful about that. Let me see. For instance, here's another way that you could have gone at the argument. You could have argued, and I thought that at first that's what you were going to be doing, that the effects of law enforcement are more dangerous to marijuana users than the use of marijuana itself. The things where they end up being penalized, their lives are hurt in some way, there are negative consequences to them if they get arrested, all that kind of stuff. I think that might be a more appropriate comparison than the cigarette comparison that you're making there. And I don't know if anybody else notices these kinds of things. It's not a big deal. It didn't affect any evaluation. Your pronunciation of marijuana is a little bit distinct. And it sounds like you've got, marijuana iguanas, marijuana. You've got a G sound in there, and I don't think it's supposed to sound like that, but I tell you what, you go on Free Dictionary and play that phrase over and over again, and if it sounds like marijuana, I'll withdraw my criticism there. All right, thank you.